I'm not gonna do Bill and Ben separately because they're twins. I guess get back here. Hold on. I'm not gonna do Bill and Ben separately because they're twins. But my favorite fun fact about them is it's because of them that I was introduced to the concept of a breakman train. Or breakman special, I guess it's called. When they took a bunch of visitors on a tour of the quarry in the TV series. Yeah, and they're always up to trouble. But they love being called heroes. That much has become obvious. They're up to pure mischief. Yeah. And they're identical, so they like tricking new engines. Next engine. I have a story to go with Scarlet with this next engine. He is renowned for his heroism because when he reached a flooded quarry, he pushed through the water to rescue all of the workers that were stranded on rooftops. Which I think is pretty incredible. And the railway was later named after him. So the original the Scarlet Railway. And he's best friends with Rheneas, the engine I have coming. He's taking his sweet time getting here. Thanks, USPS. I guess everybody knows that Flying Scotsman is one of the fastest engines in the world. That he's based off of a real train. But he's actually Gordon's younger brother. Sort of. More like a half brother. Gordon is an A0. Which was a prototype for an entire class of engines, including an A1, which is what Flying Scotsman is. So yeah, as far as his model goes, I'm not a big fan of the steam on the sides. I'm just not. So yeah. This is Victor, who runs the steamworks. Victor burns oil, which is interesting. And he's narrow gauge, because his basis is designed to work on oil plantations and sugar plantations in Cuba. And mostly the sugar plantations. And he burns oil because that's a lot easier for them to obtain because they have other machinery than obtaining coal, which none of their other machines would use. So that's assumingly why he burns oil instead of coal. This is Percy, the smallest member of the steam team. And his favorite job is pulling the mail train, as you can see he's pulling here. And he's best friends with Thomas. His nickname was the Little Green Caterpillar. Mostly by the bigger engines, which isn't necessarily a nice turn all the time. But it describes how he looks in my opinion. Especially with those red stripes. So yeah. And he's got some insecurity issues. Being the smallest of the steam team, and for the longest time they had the newest until Toby came along. Although Toby doesn't live at Timmins Shed, so really, Percy's the youngest engine at Timmins Shed. Okay, one important fact about Emily here is that my model is technically dated, because Emily, in recent years, was given the number 12 on her tender. So this model is from 2005, 2006. So way before she was ever given a number. But as you can see, she is tender driven, this model. And she's hauling, of all things, a random tanker and a steel smelter's barrel thingy that came with Steelworks Thomas. We no longer have. It is from the Steelworks scene in Journey Beyond Sodor. Or, yeah. So, yeah. I can't show you Diesel 10 running because apparently his battery is dead. Oops. Only behind him is Scrappy and Scruffy and Birdie the Bus. But Diesel 10 has a very weird history in Thomas and Friends. He originally came from the movie Thomas and the Magic Railroad in 2000, but then he did make another major appearance in A Colonial Engines, and then he moved to the island of Sodor in Day of the Diesels. And then he was there through the end of season 16, and then he disappeared again. So I don't think they quite know what to do with him. That's my opinion. Oh, and his real life basis didn't actually have the claw on top. His model basis is called a warship, which you can see why they're named that. Here's my favorite character, Edward. And he began his career in the Furness Railway. And when that shut down is when he moved to Sodor. He was built in 1896 by some accounts, but it's a little older by other accounts. I don't really know when he was built because the Furness Railway history does not line up with him being built in 1896. So, and as you can see, he is obviously got one of the breakdown cranes. See, I love Edward so much. I love the wise and old type of character. And I see why he's struggling against the flatbed that goes with the crane. So yeah, I love Edward. It appears James's battery is dying. Anyway, this is James, the most splendid red engine on all of Sodor, or so he says. He is also the most vain engine on all of Sodor, and it appears that he is not going to cooperate because his battery is so dead. But he's hauling Rocky from the Sodor Search and Rescue Center, and he is now getting caught up on Percy's train. I can't stand James in the TV series. He's so annoying, he's so vain, thinks he's so splendid, etc. Ugh. This is Belle. She's one of the fire engines on Sodor. A fire engine, quite literally. Her real life basis obviously did not have the water cannons. But she was introduced in Day of the Diesels to work with at the Sodor Search and Rescue Center. You can see she's hauling 3 water tankers. My model was held together with Scotch tape because when I was trying to get a battery in her, I thought she was snap top. When I pulled her apart, I broke the screw. It was kind of funny that she's held together with Scotch tape, but it works. She still runs okay. This is Paxton, one of my favorite diesels in the TV series currently. He's friendly but gullible, and he does not get along with the other diesels. At the Vickerstown Diesel Works. And here, as you can see, he's hauling a two fuel tankers, that is, and milk. He spends his time mostly shuttling trains between the Blue Mountain Quarry and wherever they need to go. He's a rather friendly diesel, surprisingly, considering he's the same basis as Diesel, who is not friendly. This is Hugo, who's a brand new addition. And I don't know a whole lot about him because I don't care for him or his episodes. He's a cool looking engine. He's a rail Zeppelin. And here he's hauling the aquarium cards that came with Nia. He's supposed to be zipping along the rails, but my model clearly is not. I love his color and I love his face. And that propeller on the back. I don't really know anything about him though, or his personality or anything. Because I haven't really seen the episodes that he is in. This is Timothy, another oil-burning steam engine. Presumably for the same reason as Victor. Built to work in small spaces on plantations, and where it was just easier to have an engine run on oil instead of coal. He works at the China clay pits and somehow puts up with Bill and Ben, and for some reason he keeps derailing. Might have to put a rail there. See if he does it again. Yep, I'm gonna have to put a guardrail there. Oh well. This is Stephen, the oldest engine in all of Sodor, built in 1840. He is based off of Stephenson's rocket, hence his name. And on Sodor, he works at Overstead Castle and belongs to Sir Robert Normandy, the Earl of Sodor, a rather eccentric old man, who also owns Millie and Glenn. And my Stephen appears to need a battery because he's really struggling. So yeah. Kevin here is a weird one to make into a Trackmaster model because he's a road vehicle. He's a road crane that works with Victor at the Steamworks. And he has a very slippy hook. He means well, but he's awfully clumsy. Which it actually makes it rather entertaining to watch him. Even if his bubbliness can get under the nerves of some of the other characters. Like when he helped out Cranky at the docks. Yeah, it's just weird that he made what am I trying to say? Trackmaster vehicle, because he's a road vehicle, and he looks nothing like it. It's one of the most inaccurate. This is one of the most inaccurate Trackmaster models I've ever seen. There's a few that rank up there. He's one of them. So another one is Glenn. So yeah. This is Harvey. Another one of my favorite characters that I wish appeared more. He's a crane that comes and helps lift debris off the tracks. And in the early days, put small engines back on the rails. Brian mostly clears debris. And he's apparently not good with this track because he's so wide. But he's a weird one when it comes to the series. Because in the model series, he was brown. But then, when he turned into CGI, he turned red. And got his name printed on the side like it is. So yeah, he color changed. And he's very humble and doesn't like to be fussed over. So yeah, that's Harvey. This is Doc. His real name is Montague, and he's another one of my favorite characters. He's a pannier tank. As you can see, he's pulling a brake van special, like I talked about with Bill and Ben earlier. With Toad, who really belongs to Oliver, but Oliver's Trackmaster model is so expensive and hard to find, I don't think I'll ever own him. So I'm running Toad with Doc, who is Oliver's best friend and branch line co-worker. Duck is one of those engines that can run on either a C battery or a AA battery. Hero is another one. So yeah. This is Connor and Caitlin. My Connor model is giving me all kinds of trouble, so I think he needs a battery. So, I think I have to keep fixing him this entire video. I'm doing these two together because they're best friends. They take passengers from the mainland up to Oakstead Castle, and they love to race. But so far, Connor is boozing because he's not cooperating. Haylen's running fine. They are not, in fact, the same model, despite what they look like. They're based off of two different engines. So, yeah. I like Connor's color better. And I think I better stop this clip because I'm going to have to change Connor's battery. This is Henry, who was kicked off the steam team along with Edward to his replace, and Nia and Rebecca. Henry started off a bad steamer. She was built by a couple of crooks, I should say, off of plans for a hybrid engine stolen from Sir Nigel Gresley, chief engineer of the LNER. And when he was discovered, he was overhauled and given a properly sized firebox so he could become a really useful engine, and that is that. Now, he relied on special coal when he first came to Sodor. Special Welsh coal because of his small firebox. But after he was overhauled, he no longer needed that special coal. Yet they keep referencing it in later episodes of the TV series, especially during the Sharon Killer era. So yeah, I love Henry. He's just a bit of a warrior, and he loves nature and trees. This is Rebecca, and this is Nia from Africa. Nia and Rebecca, rather, were brought onto the steam team to replace Edward and Henry. When Edward moved to sleep at Wellsworth, and Henry moved to Vicarstown. Hold on, let me fix Nia's car. Rebecca is an express engine like Gordon. Nia is a tank engine that's a shunter mostly. She's known for being clever and good at solving problems. And what on earth is happening here? I've been having trouble with this track this entire video. This is Stafford, the electric engine. So he's kind of a weird one. He's not steamy or diesel. He is electric battery powered, like an electric smart car. And he's built and made of wood, and he's getting caught on everyone and everything. And now his cars are off. And he gets caught on everyone, everything. I'm gonna have to rearrange my engine, because this is obviously not going to work. Oh, damn it, Stafford. There we go. Hey! You! Get back here! I'm gonna stop this clip. This is Duncan, the gruffest and grumpiest engine on all of Sodor. He's a narrow gauge tank engine who's always complaining that he's overworked. I love his yellow color though. It is originally painted red, the same red as Scarlatti and Renee's. He's gruff and plain speaking, but he's a hard worker, even if he's constantly complaining. So yeah, I'm not that familiar with the narrow gauge engines, to be honest. Because I don't care for them as a whole. But I'll collect them nonetheless, and I have several coming in future months. Devious Diesel. He came to the island to fill in for an out-of-work engine. Got sent away in disgrace. Came back again. Got sent away again. Then finally joined the island permanently in the modern series. He's devious and he's scheming. Yeah. And he's actually another prototype. He looks like the same class as Paxton, as I mentioned earlier, but he's actually a prototype for that class. Believe it or not. He's way ahead of... He's like the oldest diesel in the entire series. Built in 1931. Most diesels weren't even built until the late 50s and 60s. So yeah, that's Diesel. Devious Diesel. This is Hero. I'm not gonna get into his origin story because this completely makes zero sense. Much like Luke. But Hero is from Japan, where he's known as the Master of the Railway. And without going into his backstory, which I refuse to go into because I don't believe it, because it doesn't make any sense, I don't have much to say about him. He's one of my favorite characters, though. I love the wise old type. He's another character I don't know much about. Laura the Tram Engine. I just noticed he came out of Great Waterton. That's all I know. And my Flora is a horrible runner. She came to me that way. And you can see she's missing part of her railing, too. But I bought her that way. I will replace her one day with a better running model. But for the time being, she's just going to have to mind her own business, going along slowly. Here's Mavis, who runs the Farquhar Quarry. Or the Unova Quarry, depending on who you talk to. It's located at Farquhar. And she was a bit of a fussball who thought she knew everything when she first came to the island. But she quickly improved with some help from Toby, whose branch line ends at the Farquhar Quarry. And she's another friendly diesel. Although I'm quite honestly not sure what's with the smokestack. Some diesels have them, some diesels don't, and I don't quite understand that. Maybe it's a technical thing. Just like some diesels have side rods. I don't get it. Anyway, I love Mavis, I just wish she appeared more. Ahoy, matey. Whoops, the Pierce Salty here is now pushing his boxcar. Salty works at Burnham Docks alongside Cranky and Porter. And Carly and a bunch of other characters. But when he first came to Sodor, his trial run was at the Farquhar Quarry with Mavis. But after completing his trial run, he was sent to Burnham Docks. And he is full of pirate tales and sea tales and stories of sea monsters and sea storms and everything in between. But until season 12 or 13, he'd never been on a boat and he scared himself silly with all his stories. When he had to be shipped to another part of the island to fill in, he scared himself silly when it was time to actually get on a boat. Yeah. So, I just thought that's hilarious. I can't stand him though, he's way too annoying. I think he's as annoying as the other characters do. I don't think this next character needs any introduction. It's Thomas. His coach is Annie and Clarabelle. Since I don't think there's anything I can really share about Thomas, because everybody knows who he is. I'll just share about Annie and Clarabelle. They were originally James's coaches. Then when Thomas rescued James from an accident and earned his branch line, he earned Annie and Clarabelle, who did not like James at all. I mean, who'd want to be pulled by such a vain engine? Yeah, but they were originally James's coaches. Do you think it's interesting? Ding-a-ling. It's Toby and Henrietta. Most models of Henrietta do not include her face, which was only introduced in the CGI model, because Henrietta's face is so small. It's crazy small because of the way her model is. Her body is designed, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, Toby is another character that's kind of gotten shunned by modern Thomas. He's never lived at Tim with sets. He's always lived by himself. And by some accounts, he's been on Sodor his entire working career, even before he came to Charlton Hats Railway. But he was built in Wales. He's wise and kind, and one of the most experienced engines on all of Sodor. Express coming through! Except for this Express only has one coach right now. I am ordering a second one for him, along with 4 more for other engines. But that's Gordon's catchphrase with Express coming through. The indignity. But he's forced to do goods work. He's an Express engine. And a bit prideful and boastful, but he's not arrogant. And he doesn't think much of the smaller engines. And as I said earlier, he's the older half-brother of the Flying Scotsman. Gordon has gotten to be more tolerable as the series has gone on, though. And in later seasons, I actually come to be able to tolerate him and actually kind of like his personality. And what Mattel has turned him into. Versus what he was when he first started out. On the contrary to Gordon is his arrogant, stuck-up rival Spencer, the private engine of the Duke and Duchess of Oxford. In later episodes, Spencer has 2 coaches, so I've ordered a second one for him as well. But Spencer and Gordon are rivals. That is plain and simple. And I cannot stand Spencer. I don't think anybody can. Ugh. He's so arrogant and so stuck up. And lazy. Outright lazy and always suspicious of something is going on. Asinine. This is Finn the fire engine. He can actually go on both road and rails. He was introduced in the day with the Diesels to work with Bell of the Sodor Search and Rescue Center. He can easily switch between road and rail. And he's an American model basis thing. But yeah, I don't know where his ladder went. I'm just now realizing. Oh well. He's supposed to have a ladder on top. I know mine never came with a ladder, or it's just been lost. This is Scruff the Scruncher. And he works with Whiff at Whiff's Waste Dump. Whiff, you guys might remember I used to have, but then I messed up the weights in his wheels trying to change his battery. And I Whiff, and in my next run session, Whiff will reappear. Finally, after years of not being in my collection. If anyway, Scruff here works with Whiff and is afraid of getting clean. Which is kind of a weird fear to have, but when you work at the waste dump, it makes sense. I don't know much about Scruff's personality, because I don't really watch that era of the TV show. We're going to end with a pair of weird endings. Starting with Gator. He was introduced in Tale of the Brave, and aside from a few episodes during season 14 or 15, I think it's 14, it takes place during Tale of the Brave. He went back to Argentina where he came from at the end of the movie. So, he's just a weird one. but his name was actually Gerald, but in reality, everybody calls him Gator because of his shape. He was built for the Argentinian military as an armored tank. See, he's just a weird one. He's friendly but weird. And finally, we have Lady, the Magical Lantern. She appeared in Thomas and the Magic Railroad and in Colonial Engines briefly, but she's so popular despite not appearing hardly at all. It's a weird one. But she appears in fan series under various names. Don't really know what to say about her because I can't sort that movie out for the life of me. Thanks everybody for watching. Stay tuned for the next run session.